Can you all see the screen? You can, no? So, shall we wait for another 5 minutes? Or shall we start? You all can see the slides, right? You can just tell me yes or no. Right. Thank you. Um, so, I should tell you all now there are two discussion forums that are opened on the LMS, which are relevant to the today's day school. So, it's better for you all to log into the LMS and go through those two discussion forums before we start the lecture so that you will be able to answer it properly. So until your friends join, can you all log into the LMS and just quickly read the two questions that I have uploaded? So those who joined it now, log into your LMS, go to this course, and under Day School 2, you will find two discussion forums that are available there. So I want you all to read those two questions before we start the lecture today. So your participation to that LMS forum will be checked by the coordinator. So because of that, you have to engage with that activity today, since this is an online class. We need to see your engagement. So did y'all see the questions? So you all have to tell me right now. You have to interact with me. Say what's going on because it's very difficult to conduct a lecture when you all are so silent. මං කියන දේ තේරෙනව නේද ඔයගලන්ට? LMS එකට log වෙලා බලන්න මේ course එකට log වෙලා day school 2 එක යටතේ අපි දාලා තියෙනවා forums දෙකක්. ඒ දෙක පොඩ්ඩක් ඒ questions දෙක කියව ගන්න මම lecture පටන් ගන්න කලින්. මොකද ඔයගොල්ලෝ you have to answer those two questions. And your answers will be checked by the coordinator. Right? So it's everyone saw the questions? So did you read the question? Yes, this will be shared as a recording, but we are checking your participation to the LMS activity during this session. So you have to participate with it. Right, so shall we start now? Everyone, I hope everyone read the question. Right? Can you just quickly tell me whether you all read the questions or not? Okay, now quickly log into the LMS. Someone is saying not yet. You all do know how to log into the LMS, right? හරිද බැලුවද ඔයගොල්ලෝ දැන්? Questions දෙක read කරාද? Yes, no? LMS එකට වෙලා බලන්න IT for marketing course එකේ under day school 2 there are two discussion forums that I have opened. I want you all to read those two questions. Right? Can I get a yes, no answer, please? So, now if y'all are not going to unmute yourselves and talk, at least be active in the chat, okay?
Good morning, Miss. Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Uh, I was trying to actually I could not hear it properly. Would you mind repeating it?
Yeah, so there are two discussion forums that I have uploaded to the LMS.
Okay.
So you have to I just want you all to read those two questions before I start the lecture so that
Ah,
during the lecture you can answer with what you're going to learn today.
right, right. Is it on LMS under day school 2, right?
Yes.
Ah, right. Okay. Thank you.
What about others? Shall we start now? So today is the second day of school, right? And we will be talking about the basics of information systems. So we'll start off with
Uh,
understanding what, yeah,
Miss, I read the question. As far as I understand, it's like we have to just elaborate on some experience that we have
yes,
received from those systems, right? That's what
yes,
it's expected, isn't it?
yes.
Right.
I will give you some time. I just want you all to read the question and have an understanding of what is required so that you will be able to grasp some knowledge here and there throughout the lecture. And during the lecture time, I will give you some time to post your answer there, right? So let's move on with the lecture today. So we will be talking about the basics of information systems, starting off with the definition of what data is all about and what information are all about. And I think since this is your second day school, you might have somewhat of an understanding of what information systems are all about, right? And even apart from that, as human beings, living in a digital era, you know what technology is all about and what information systems are capable of and what are the benefits and so much and so on, right? And specifically attached to the corporate world, how I think some of y'all are working and some of y'all are full-time learners. However, um, we have experienced and witnessed how information systems are used by different parties, right? So in this lecture, we will basically look at what data are all about and what information is all about. Information systems, there are different types of information systems, right, that we use for the business purposes. So, can one of y'all just tell me what y'all know of data?
Can I talk about POS?
Yeah, sure.
That is point of sales, which we can be seen everywhere, almost every business organization nowadays. So basically, it supports. I mean, it adds convenience to the customer, and also it adds convenience to the business organizations as well.
You're talking about information systems as a whole or as data?
as information system as whole, how it's going to support the business process.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
one thing is it eases the customers, I mean the business process through
Yeah.
having a system where where it facilitates the efficiency of the business.
Right.
So that is from the business perspective, and from the customer's perspective. It now earlier days, if there wasn't a POS, customers have to go through a lot of hardships, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So so having a POS, it certainly will help the customers aspect. I mean, the process easier, and so that is the benefit. But limitation wise, if the system gets down or some problem happens, customers will have to go through a lot of hardships, like waiting in a queue and consuming the time, and so because the manual system was is not in place, so that's the limitation I see. So that's my basic reading on that.
Yeah, so thank you very much for that experience. And can you tell me something about data? So, first of all, as an initial step to this lecture, we need to first understand what data and what information are all about. So, someone else can tell me what data is all about, what you all know about data. The ones who cannot speak out, you can use the chat box and share your thoughts. Data. What do you all know about data? Anyone? Nobody? You all have heard the term, right? Data. You all are using data all the time.
Can I try?
Yeah, sure.
Well, data is actually, it's in the raw form. It's not yet processed. So it is just that things are fed to the system before it's processing. So once it processes, and the additions are added, it becomes an information. So that's one understanding on that.
Yes. So that is very correct. And I have got another answer saying it means raw facts and figures. Again, whereas information is processed data and data are not being processed into meaningful information. Yes, so you all know, right? That means, so basically, data is something that is unprocessed yet, right? Uh, and like you all have clearly mentioned, those are raw facts and figures and maybe numbers, right? It doesn't have a particular context, but just by looking at those data, we won't be able to make decisions, right? And like you all clearly mentioned, data is not processed, they're unprocessed, and we can define them as the building blocks that we use in generating information to facilitate the decision making, right? So, since we are talking about the corporate uh, sector and how information systems are used in the business world, we know that to organize for the organizations to operate, we need to make decisions, right? Quick and fast, effective and efficient decision making must be there. And in order to support the decision making within the organizations, we need to have clear, accurate information. And in order to build these information, we need data, right? So, like you all mentioned clearly, data are unprocessed raw facts that we use to process information. So these data, if we talk about the different characteristics of data, they're not that structured, they're not that organized, and the meaningfulness is very limited or sometimes no meaning at all, right? And then also in terms of how we collect the data, it's like it could be collected in a very larger scale, in large volumes as well, right? And like I mentioned, we're using these data and processing these data in order to create information for decision making, right? So can you all give me some examples? I know the slide has like few examples. Now you all can see this 10,000 is just a number, right? It's a number, maybe depending on the question that we might have asked, right? But we do not know what this is all about, right? Unless we do not know the answer. And then again, like these words. Now, these could be like, so you all might have filled some Google forms for a research of some of your friends or your colleagues, right? So did y'all ever received a Google form, or like have y'all been given a questionnaire to fill out, or someone coming into you and asking questions, giving you multiple choice answers for you to select some answer? Have y'all ever experienced that? Nobody? Y'all have never filled a Google questionnaire, Google form? Okay. Anyway, so if someone is doing a research in order to collect data, he or she might be giving you all some questions, right? So there are different types of questions, and let's take now for this buy and second hand example. You might have been given the question of asking whether you're actually using the products that are bought by you, or you're using second hand, or you're getting donated uh, products, you're using donated products. So the multiple choice answers would be these three options, and you being a research participant will select one of these options, and I being the researcher, I will get these answers from yours, right? So since now there are 26 participants, I will be getting, cut me off, I will get 25 answers, right? Maybe 10 donates and 5 second hands, and then the rest buy. Now, just by looking at these categories of data, I won't be able to make any decisions, right? So I have to process them and categorize them, like as in interpret these data in order to make a decision based on the types of, based on the kind of use of the product, right? Did you got my point?
Yes, Miss, it's very well
Yeah,
understood.
yeah. So that is about it. So these type of data are called as categorical data, right? And then like I asked you all now, most of the time there are people who are doing research, academic research, or even companies nowadays, they do research in order to make their decisions, right? Relevant to marketing. Why do we do research? In order to get to know about the consumer satisfaction, brand awareness, or maybe if you're going to introduce a new product, you need to know what types of flavors the consumers prefer, and about their consumer behavioral patterns, and anything that you need to know, you could conduct a research and you could collect data, right? So these now, did y'all learn anything about research? Have you all learned anything about research up to now? Research methods or methodology? No?
Not yet. I
Not
think
yet, not
it's
yet.
not
So
for the level.
maybe, yeah, level 5, 6, you have to study about research methods and all. So the data is actually the answers that we get. Now, whenever you're doing a research, you will have to collect data, and the data that you're collecting are actually the answers that are coming from your participants, right? So those are data. But based on these survey responses or the Google forms, answers, and all, you won't be able to make decisions because those are raw answers that are collected from the respondents of your study, right? And they are not yet subject to any interpretation or organization, which is why they're not meaningful, right? So then it's about information. So like you all mentioned, and as the slide says, it is about something that is already processed and well structured and organized, and it has some meaning for the uh, viewer of the or the user of the information, so that he or she will be able to make decisions in an effective manner, right? So like I said in this example now, like I mentioned, uh, we assumed that I got 10 donates and 15 second hands and the rest buy, right? So based now, how could that be an information to the organization? Now, the question that we asked was whether you're using used products, second hand products, or buying new products, or getting using donated stuff, right? So with that, by processing those data and interpreting those data, you will be, as a marketer attached to a particular organization, you will be able to create a meaningful information as to the consumer behavior, right? In terms of how they are buying, how they prefer to use the products. So in that case, since there are 15 second hand, that means the consumers show some level of maybe sustainable consumption practices, because they are into using second-hand products. They are into reusing stuff. So based on that, you will be able to make a decision as to majority of the consumers show sustainable consumption practices, and as a result we have to be sustainable. And how we can be sustainable is maybe through incorporating different sustainable practices into the production. You could promote reusing, you could promote second-hand products, you can organize a particular campaign and ask the consumers to bring in their first use products, and you can have them an opportunity to sell them, right? Something like that. So that is what is actually happens in organizations with all these data, and based on the data how we make information and how we make decisions that are in favor of the organization's well-being for the company, right? So that is how data is transformed into information, and that is the difference between um these two aspects. So now tell me the characteristics of these information. Like with what I just mentioned, they are organized, structured, and it gives us some level of meaning, right? And the context is also somewhat clear. We know, like by looking at the information, we should be able to get an understanding of the context as to what we are doing, right? And then it's useful for the understanding of different patterns. Like I said, now based on the information relevant to the use of second-hand products, we were able to understand that there is a trend in terms of sustainable consumption practices in the consumers, right? Among the consumers. So that is an insight, right? That is useful for us to, as corporate sector, you will be able to understand several consumer patterns that are among the consumers, right? So it is a trend. So even nowadays, we can see people are moving towards being green consumers and sustainable consumers, right? So I think in marketing ethics, you learned about sustainable consumption, ethical consumption, and all, right? So that is what I'm talking about. Clear, Ned?
Okay, Miss, that's
Yeah.
clear.
Yeah, and then again, finally, information is helping us to make our decisions uh, quick, fast, effective, and efficient, right? So, like I have mentioned, this is the information that we have been able to generate based on this particular categorical data, right? Encouraging. So based on now, we have been able to understand that there is a rising trend towards the use of sustainable or second-hand products. So as a result, now what is the information, what is the decision that we are going to make is to encourage sustainable habits in order to buy second-hand products, right? Okay, so now we can discuss about the differences of these two. So like you can see data are raw, but and it's unprocessed, right? Facts and figures. But then on the other hand, information are processed, interpreted, and well organized, which gives the data some meaning, which makes the information meaningful, right? And then the other thing is that it serves as a basis for analysis. So that means what? Now, based on the raw facts and figures, we can undertake a particular analysis. So whether it's, let's say now this in this slide, so we have numerical data. Now this is a number, right? We call it a numerical or a quantitative sort of a data. So to analyze these numerical data, we normally use softwares, right? Like maybe SPSS or other different softwares are there for analysis, right? SurveyMonkey and all are there. So you based on, I mean, using those softwares, you can do an analysis on those numerical or the quantitative data, right? And on the other hand, now sometimes now this can be turned into the numerical form because these are labeled data, right? And if now let's say you have asked your consumers and they have given you an elaborative answer for your question. You're asking about their level of satisfaction about a particular product and they have given you like 5 minutes time long response, which will be recorded by yourself in words, right? As a full response where they try to express their feelings and thoughts about the product. So that is sort of a in-depth answer that they have provided, which is qualitative in nature, which is very descriptive, right? Not that it is not something like this, like a numerical data or just a simple answer like this, but a more descriptive, more in-depth sort of a answer they have given you all. So those data we call them as qualitative data. And even nowadays, business organizations do, there is this whole thing in we argue about, we discuss about this social listening, which means now you all might have seen now in on FB, if you searched for some product and you go through the different brands and all these products, what happens is on Instagram and on YouTube and even on Google, you get similar product advertisements, right? So that means all these platforms are well connected and they're listening to what you're doing. They observe what you're doing. That is why if you search for some product or some brand, you get similar advertisements or sponsored ads from all these other different platforms. So that means they're using their data, your data, in order to make some decisions and then promote the same sort of products to you, right? So my point is now whatever you do on social media or on all these digital platforms are also pieces of data, right? Maybe the number of time, the time you spend on social media, the number of clicks you click on, and maybe your engagement with different brands and your dissemination patterns and all those things are also pieces of data which can be used for an analysis, and based on this analysis the companies can use it as a useful information, right? So the takeout is actually there are two types of data, right? Quantitative, those are the numerical data, and then the qualitative data, which are more descriptive and in-depth, right? So to analyze, now we were talking about this whole analysis process, right? So to analyze these two types of data, there are different ways. right? So for the numerical data, like I said, you could either use graphs, tables, or Excel, or specifically created softwares such as SPSS or other analyzing softwares to analyze these numerical data. And on the other hand, to analyze this qualitative data, you can use different techniques like thematic analysis, and for observations, and for all these social media ethnographic activities, you have different analyzing techniques. And once these data goes through these different quantitative or qualitative analyzing techniques, you will be able to create information to support the decision making, right? Okay, so then on the other hand, information is actually supporting your decision because those are the outcome or the output of the processed data, right? So that comes with meaning, where you will be able to make decisions. And then on the other hand, the data value is realized after processing. So that means the data, they do not have a value at the point of collection, but as far as you analyze it and you interpret the data and you make the data go through this processing stage, only it will get a value, right? Which will be the information, which is actually the valuable and also actionable, right? That means based on the information, you will be able to make decisions and make other actions that are necessary, right? So let's say now, depending on your collected data, now you have been able to detect so like we'll use the same example. So you all saw a pattern in towards sustainable consumption among the consumers because of the increased number of second-hand users as a data piece. So based on that, the identification of the trend towards sustainable consumption is something of value, right, for the business organization. And how is it actionable is through, now since you have identified this trend, you will be able to implement sustainable consumption or business practices so that it will support these sustainable consumers. And then these sustainable consumers will keep on coming to buy from you. So then gradually your sales and your revenue and your profit and ultimately your wealth will increase. So that is the link actually, right? How is information valuable and it is actionable, right? And then again, data are all about what? Numbers, dates, could be measurements, or the categorical data or labeled data, right? Which does not have any meaning. But on the other hand, information, once the data goes through this whole processing stage, you will be able to generate reports and summaries and all these conclusions and judgments and all these things. And those will be used by the top management or middle level management or even the executives in order to make their decisions day to day or strategic or long term or whatever the decision is, can be made using those information, right? So that is about data and information. So do y'all have anything else to be added to this? Something that I have missed? Something that y'all know apart from what I have talked about? So another example that I can highlight is, now since we are talking about marketing and businesses and organizations, tell me now the number of units sold. Is it a data or uh, an information piece? Now you have been able to notice that, let's say one particular product, let's say the packets of sugar, right? You have sold 500 units per day. Let's say it's a Kiehl's outlet, right? So the number of units sold, what do you all think? Is it an information or a... So since I actually told you that it's a Kiehl's and it's a sugar packet, it is sort of a
It is. I think
information.
it is data.
It is
Let the
data, but that is if I didn't tell you all that it's a sugar pack or it's a Kiehl's outlet and all, right? Because I have given you all
Mm.
some features as to the number of units. So number of units itself is a piece of data, right? And then the date that it's been sold is also data, right? Because on this day, today is the 9th, right? So 9th August 2025 is actually a data. And then the price, if we talk about the price, let's say 1 kilogram sugar packet is how much? I have no idea. Like, let's say 300 rupees. I'm just assuming. So that is also data, right? Because we do not know what is the product or what is the amount of kg of this particular product we're talking about. So when all these aspects are missing and only one figure is with us, right? The price, 300 rupees, we do not know anything, right? So that is again data. Now, what if I told y'all, now you all know now these different products, they have different codes and IDs, right? And if I say this particular product bearing code 0035 or something has sold 500 units on the today's 9th August 2025, and it has been generated, let's say 10,000 worth of a profit for the company, for the Kiel's outlet at Kalubovila. These are all assumptions, okay? So that is what?
That is information.
Yes. So I hope others are clear as well. So that is an information, right? So based on that whole particular thing that I just said, managers or even a school child will be able to um, get an understanding, right? Even though he or she is not a part of the decision making. But for the management, let's say in the Kiel's outlet of Kalubovila, we'll be able to, make some decisions in terms of maybe increasing or decreasing the promotions or whatever regarding the sugar packs of 1 kg, right? So that is clear now. So the same thing can be applied to different other aspects, right? Since we are talking about marketing aspects, maybe to collect customer feedback, or let's say for even lost consumer analysis, also you can use this same thing, right? So whatever you do, whatever the area that you're looking for, um, the raw data, based on the raw data, you won't be able to make decisions. However, you have to make sure that you properly analyze it and interpret it in order to come up with an information so that you will be able to make decisions or other relevant actions, right? Okay, Ned. So next up is the characteristics of um, information. So there are these 5 characteristics of information, right? Accuracy, relevance, timeliness, completeness, and understandability. So accuracy means what? Something that is accurate means it doesn't have any errors, or any biasness. So accuracy in terms of the information means that there are no faults, right? And there are no errors. So as a result, the management can trust these information and make their decisions, right? So let's say now an organization has collected data relevant to their sales, right? Data relevant to their sales, okay? And then they've been able to find out that the recorded figures of data doesn't match with the actual inventory levels that are available in the outlet, maybe. So let's stick to the Kiel's example. Now, the number of sugar packets that they have sold are not matching with the information, I mean, the data on the inventory level. So that means what? There is a error, right? So that means that information, whatever the information that you're going to generate using those data will be inaccurate, right? ඒක තේරුණා නේද? Accuracy means whenever there are no errors or biases. So it is important to make sure that your information are accurate, like I said, because we are using these information to make decisions. What if your information is inaccurate and you're making a decision based on this inaccurate information? What will happen? Your whole operations, and now in this example that we just discussed, even if the inventory, like you all might have done cost accounting and all, right? There are this whole thing in terms of reorder level, and you have heard about it, right? Where to buy, where to purchase, and what is the security level of inventory and all. So if these information are inaccurate, all these order levels and pre-order levels and everything gone will go wrong, right? So that is the danger of having inaccurate information, right? And so anything you all need to add to this discussion? So I know some of y'all might be working. So um, as lecturers, we are in the academic field, and compared to y'all, maybe we are not that much exposed to the real world, right? The practical world. So you can add your experiences to this discussion so that you and your friends and I can also learn something. So if y'all have anything to add. And if I'm missing something, please do contribute, right? Okay, so since y'all are very silent, let's go to the next characteristic, which is relevance. So what does relevance means?
How much does it applicable to you? I mean, how much it's gonna, let's say, let's say important for you, something like that?
Yeah, important for you in the sense maybe to achieve our goals and objectives, right?
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
yeah, so now for all the aspects of an organization, now we know that there are different functions in an organization. So in this course, we are focusing specifically on the marketing function, right? So for all the different actions, all these strategies that we have implemented under the marketing function, there is a end goal, that goal or an objective that we intend to achieve, right? So the information should always be appropriate, like you mentioned. It should be relevant to achieve these goals and objectives, right? So normally we know that as an organization, the ultimate objective is to improve the wealth, right? Wealth maximization or profit maximization, because y'all are not y'all are intend towards profit generation. So as a result, the ultimate goal would be to maximize your wealth. That is in a financial point of view, right? But however, all the other functions will also be supporting to achieve that ultimate goal, right? So even in the marketing function, based on different aspects. Now, since you all know what marketing is all about, and you all have heard of marketing strategies, 4Ps and 7Ps and everything. Under each of these strategies, let's say the product strategy, it has several goals and objectives that this strategy is following to achieve, right? So strategies are basically the actions that we take in order to achieve the goals and objectives, right? So in order to support this achievement, your information, whatever the information that you're generating, should be relevant, right? So that it will support your decision making process, right? So now let's see now as an example. Now you're going to undertake a study in order to analyze the influence of social media advertising on your brand awareness, right? Because nowadays, you know that companies use digital marketing and they're active on social media platforms and everywhere. And as a result, you're trying to understand the influence of the use of all these social media platforms and advertising on these platforms on the brand awareness of your brand, right? Because early onwards, the consumers will only were able to know about your brand through maybe radio or TV or at the outlet itself, right? So in that case, now you are trying to look at the influence of social media advertising on your brand awareness, right? So tell me now, in that case, is it worthwhile to collect data uh, on traditional TV or radio?
No.
No, right? So that is a very simple thing that I just took. So that is irrelevant, right? Because you are intended towards understanding the impact of social media advertising on your brand awareness. So in that case, it is very unnecessary and irrelevant, actually, not relevant to use data or information that you collect through TV or radio or even BTL promotions, right? So that is about relevance. So, like, it is very important, right, for your information to be relevant because, again, you will be making decisions based on these information that you are collecting, right? And then the next is timeliness. So, what can you tell me about timeliness of information? So, we are living in a very fast moving business environment, right? And the technology keeps on updating, the consumers' tastes and preferences changes, right? And all these environmental forces and factors are subject to change, right? So because of those reasons, the information or the data that you have collected would also be changing in a very fast pace, right? So at the point of decision making, it you should ensure that whatever the data that you have collected or whatever the information that you have processed are available and that they are current as well. They are in line with the updated times, right? Now, let's say you're using a data set that has been collected on consumer behavior before 2000 to make decisions on consumer marketing strategies now here on in 2025. Do you all think the data would be uh, usable or valuable? Because the time has changed, people have changed, their use of technology has changed. With all these changes, the way the consumers might have thought in 2000s might be different from how consumers think now, right? So because of that, you can't use a data set that you have collected in 2000 in order to make decisions for 2025. Again, there is a huge time difference, but then again, uh, it is applicable since, like I said, because of all these fast-paced changes that take place in the business environment, you have to use constantly updated data and information in order to make sure that it is timely and current and updated, right? Okay. So like I said, now with this use of social media and all these now, if you all are working and if you all are into digital marketing, you all might have seen now all these trends and patterns and all these things are very short lifespan, right? Are of very short lifespan. Even in TikTok, you can see how different trends just come and go, right? So in we are living in a world of such speed, right? So because of that, we have to be very uh, mindful of the timeliness of the data that we have been used in order to make our decisions, right? So simply, you should not be using outdated or expired data to make decisions into the future or even into the present times, right? So that is applicable for the stock market, stock prices and all as well, right? Because even the stock market, the prices of the stocks keep on changing, right? So based on some previous prices, you should not make any decisions, right? So like maybe last week's stock prices would be drastically changed this week. So that is my point there, right? Clear, ne? That is about the timeliness of information. And then, so you all have any questions or anything that was unclear? Do you all understand what I'm saying?
Yes, Mr. It's well understood.
Right. What about the others? Can you all just... So normally is it the way that normally happens, like y'all don't speak out much? This is like since your second day of school, but you all have had lectures earlier, right? In your level 3. Okay, so thank you for your responses. So we'll move on then. So then we have the completeness. So that means your information should cover all the aspects that are needed to make a particular decision, right? So you should ensure that your information should ensure that all the necessary data points are available and included, and there is nothing gone omitted or missed by yourselves, right? So that the management or whoever the person who's making the decision can make a complete, accurate decision, right? So how can you like in what sort of an example can we use in this completeness? Now, so whenever you are designing a survey, right? So this can be kept in your mind in order to like make sure that you have asked all the necessary questions from the consumers, right? So let's say now you're designing a questionnaire or a Google form in order to collect data about the customer's feedback for a particular product, right? So sometimes, as being the researcher, you might omit mistakenly some questions, which will result in poor complete data that will be collected because you have omitted the questions. But then again, let's say you being the researcher, you have done a very really good job and you have prepared a very complete questionnaire and all. But the consumers, due to different reasons, maybe they were not unwilling to answer the question, or maybe they didn't understand the question, right? So due to different reasons, they have not answered your questions, right? They have just skipped the questions. And then what will happen? Now, will that particular data, the data set that will be collected, is it completed or not? Is it complete or not?
No, it's not complete.
Obviously, it's not completed, right? So how can you avoid something like that? I mean, how can you avoid consumers skipping these questions? Or, like, let's say, how can you stop them from answering questions and submitting? Now, this can be done through a Google form, actually. You can see if, I don't know whether you all have prepared a Google form. So whenever you have designed your questionnaire manually, you will be able to create a Google form, right? Using your Gmail services. So in that, when you're
Making it
preparing, yeah, making it required.
simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And also
without,
simpler because sometimes there are certain forms like that normally customers won't be able to understand at a glance.
yes,
It
yes.
takes some time, and so it's
Mm.
not better not to make it complicated and make it
And
simpler.
use a very simple language as well, right? So that comes under the
That's
language and
right.
the clarity and all. But to make sure that the most important questions are answered, you can simply make it a required question so that the consumer cannot, the participant, whoever filling the questionnaire or the Google form, will not be able to submit it unless he or she has answered this particular question, right? So that
Some
can
like
be done.
some questions that asterisk mark is there, red color
Yes,
one. So like
yes.
something
That
like that.
is when you make it required. You select on the required tab on when you're preparing the Google form, you can make it a required question. So then only you will be getting that asterisk mark on the the Google form, right? So that means the consumer, whenever you're filling it, it is a must for you to fill that answer, unless you will not be able to move on to the next section of the form, or you won't be able to submit the form, right? So that is there. So in terms of the characteristic of completeness, your information should be completed. It must be complete. Otherwise, based on omitted data or missed data, the decisions that you will be making would be not that much of a value. And also, there is a danger also, because maybe you are making decisions and that actually affects your whole productivity of the organization as well, right? And there is a threat of you entering into conclusions or judgments based on the wrong or the incorrect, incomplete data. In term Now, since we talked about consumer feedback here in this example, you will be ending up with wrong conclusions about the level of your consumer satisfaction and the preferences of your customers, right? So that is the danger of having incomplete data and making decisions based on incomplete data, right? Okay. And then we have understandability. So that means what? Basically, your information should be presented in a way that will be easy and clear for the decision makers to make decisions, right? And also the data, in terms of the data, it has to be easy for us to analyze and interpret and to make it turn it into something of value. And also as an information, it has to be understandable, because if the information is unclear and are not understanding, you won't be able to implement any productive actions based on this information, right? So now, so that is about understandability. So now I remember I told you all, now as an example for information, you have all these reports, summaries, insights, and conclusions, right? Those are information. Now, if the things that are included in all these reports, now y'all might have seen, right? We have the central bank annual report, and all the companies, they have their annual reports publicly available in their websites, right? Where to which we can just go and have free access and refer. But what if the information or the facts and figures that are given in these reports are complex and not that easy to understand? What will happen? The users won't be able to make proper decisions based on all these information available, right, in your reports. And like whenever you're using abbreviations, and maybe when if you're using technical jargons and all, and even the graphs and figures that you're using also, it has to be given in a manner that can be easily understood by the user, right? Now in different industries, there are different jargons and terms, and maybe the product ingredients. All these things might be different from one industry to another. So in that case, you have to clearly mention what these abbreviations mean, or what these technical jargons mean, and what are the different graphs and figures are elaborating clearly, right? So that the information can be easily understood by the user, right? So that is about understandability. Any questions or any problems? This is actually a summary of these characteristics. And so in summary, accuracy is all about what? The correctness of the data. And relevance is all about what? That information is supporting your goal achievement, right? And it is relevant to the context of your study. And timeliness is all about the use of current and updated data and having them available on time at the point of decision making, right? And completeness is all about what? Having all the data that are necessary for the decision making without omitting or without missing any important or any other information points. And understandability is about the clarity of the information, right? So finally, I could say that all these features or the characteristics of information are very important in order to make sure that your decisions are useful and actionable and reliable as well, right? And they're valid for your company and even for the industry and for other stakeholders to make their decisions, right? So that is about the characteristics of data. and information. Now you can do this activity. So what you have to do is, so this is available on the LMS as well. This is the first discussion forum for which you need to give your answer. So the question is, think of how you have encountered data and information in your daily lives by referring to sources like social media posts, news articles, or research studies, right? So that is what I also mentioned now on social media, how data is being extracted by companies, right? So this is about your own experiences. So think of different social media posts or articles published on different news magazines and also different research studies, since you all are graduate students, no, undergraduates. You might have come across with different research papers, journal articles, and books, and all these chapters and everything. So, all are information and maybe data pieces. So, select one of these three sources and list the data and information that you think, and also think of the different features that we discussed, and post it on your LMS page, right? So is it clear? The activity is clear to you all? So you have to put your answer to the Google form, right? So you all know how to add, right, to the form. There is this small button where you can add to this discussion forum. So first you can type the answer on your phone, or if you're on your laptop, you can type it on your laptop, and then you can copy paste it to the forum on the LMS. So now it is 10:11. I will give you 10 minutes and I will check. I will screen share the LMS forum and we can have a discussion. So there's another part to this question where you have to tell something on what you were able to grasp with this activity, right? So I will check the discussion forum now. So nobody has uploaded anything up to now. Do you all find any difficulties in finding the forum or adding? So this is the forum under day school 2. You can see this.
Is it
for-
must to add what you call this sort of a Word document, or can't I just share my idea, madam? So
You can just type because now
right,
even though
okay.
you just tell it, I don't think the coordinator will watch the video. That's the thing.
Oh, I
So
see. Okay.
click on the forum and add discussion topic. No, sorry, I mean. So I think you will be able to add now. Clicking on it, you could you should be
Oh,
getting one of those add
okay.
options.
It's on day school too, right?
Yes, day school too. So I think you will be able to upload now. So what you have to do is you have to go to day school 2 and click on the forum. And now here you can see question 1. Click on that. And now you can see this options here, right? Click on reply and paste your answer here. and then click on the post to forum, right? And in your answer, you have to also write something about what you were able to grasp from this session and from this activity per se, right? You can just write down one takeaway from this activity, and was it helpful for you in terms of understanding this lesson, right? So quickly do it now. I think the time I gave you is done now. So whatever you have, post it to the forum. So I can see two of y'all have posted, but you have to click on question 1 and post it as a reply to this question. හරිද ළමයි? ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ අලුත් ඩිස්කෂන් ටොපික්ස් විදියටනේ ඇඩ් කරලා තියෙන්නේ. දැන් මෙහෙම තියෙනකොට දන්නේ නැහැනේ මොකද්ද question එක කියලා. Q1 එක යටතට ගිහිල්ලා ඒකේ reply කියන එක ඒකට තමයි you have to reply. Right? මෙතනට ඔයගොල්ලෝගේ answer එක paste කරලා post to forum දෙන්නකෝ. So this is good actually. You should copy this, delete it from here, and paste it as a reply to my question here. Santoshini, are you there? So when you add to this question 1, I can see one reply is there now. Okay, so Santoshini, what you have to do is you have to so whatever your answer, just copy it from here, right? Just copy it and delete it from here, and then add it to this question 1 as a reply. Post it here, right? And then post to forum. Right, so there are 22 students, only 2 have posted their answers up to now. So I need to see at least 10 to 12 what in order to move forward. So I can still see only a one reply. මොකද්ද ඔයගලන්ට තියෙන problem එක? තේරෙන්නේ නැද්ද මොකක් හරි එකක් මං කියන? So 3 people have shared their answers. අනිත් අයට මොකද්ද තියෙන problem එක? So Santoshi, I will delete your answer from here. Okay, so let's go along with your answers. I was listening to Sky News on YouTube. There was a news that Hormuz Strait might closed by Iran as a territorial measure data in raw form. And what is the information? The rise in oil prices is linked to growing tensions in the Middle East. But you have to add these also to your information. Now, this is just a statement, no? L.Y. Pereira.
Oh, okay, Mr.
Yeah.
Okay, I will add it as a statement. I thought,
It's you, no? Okay. So the
yeah,
thing is, you have to incorporate it with these facts and figures also.
all right.
Otherwise, anyone can say that. You have
Mm,
to do like give a complete
right.
picture to the
Okay.
user. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you
So the
for your
information,
answer. Yeah. Information
so
should be, you can edit
yeah.
your response from here,
All right. Sure, sure.
right?
Okay. Thank you so much. Oh,
And
yeah.
Santoshi, I read a news article from 2025 about the rise of electric vehicles. The data includes statistics like global EV sale increased by 40%. So this whole thing, it's an information, no? Because global electric vehicle sale increased by 40% in 2024. So that is actually an information. This data was turned into information how electric vehicle is becoming more popular and reducing carbon emissions. Okay. Mm. Okay, it's okay. So I think these two are actually can be taken as information. Now, data means if it was only like it had the increase of 40% and year separately as 2024, that will be data. But now, since you have put together in a meaningful way, right? So you know that the global use of sale of electric vehicles will be increased by 40%. And you have given the year as well. So that is an information based on which some consumer or an organization in the industry of electric vehicles can make an informed decision, right? I saw a Facebook post from a cafe. It showed is 500 available today only. So that is the data. Yes. The post also said get your favorite coffee for just 500 today. Limited time. This is the information. Hmm. But then again, this is also correct, but the data is only if it was coffee available today and without the price, right? And if it was only the price, then again it will be a piece of data. So here, get your favorite coffee just for 500 to pay. Yeah, it is an information. Okay, right. So thank you very much, the three who have posted. And I think there was someone else also. So this Vijay you also have to copy this info, copy your answer from here and delete it and post it under the question one forum, right? So let's check your answer. Instagram post, eco product brand. Okay. Reusable and made out of. So these are the decisions, right, that you will be making based on the information. And so what you have to do is you have to add your information piece as well. You can add one of these data pieces into this statement and make it an information. And based on that information, you will be making these two decisions, right? So clearly understand the difference between data and information. So like I said, thank you very much for the answers, the 4 answers that I got. And we'll move on to the lesson, and we have to discuss about business processes now. Business processes and the application of information systems into these processes, right? So what is a business process? We know that different organizations have different functions, right? Different operations are there. Accounting and finance, information, and then marketing, operations, human resource, and so on, right? And under each of these operations, there are different processes, right? So a business process is what? It's a collection of different procedures that a business organization use in order to produce a particular product. So the product could be either a physical product or a service or any other different type of a market offering, right? So keep the business process aside and let's just take the term process. What does that mean? It is an accumulation of different activities that we do, right? So you all have seen this input, process, output earlier as well, right? So in a business organization, what happens? What are the inputs that we normally put into? It'll be the resources, right? Could be physical resources, financial resources, or human resources, or maybe I said financial, no? And information is actually one of the inputs. And then different materials, if it is production that we are talking about, if it is a production related business process, then the raw materials that you get from the suppliers will be your input, right? And then financially wise, maybe the capital that you gain. And then you will also input data to a system, and then once you do all the analysis and interpretation and organizing and structuring and everything under the process, you get the output of information. And if it is a physical product, then the raw materials, the ingredients will be your input. And then you will have to have labor as well, right? Because there should be employees who are attached to do the processing part. So you input it, and under the process stage, what happens? The mixturing, grinding, and all these things, and then the final product will be created, and the packaging and everything happens there. And then the final product will be the output, maybe with some value-added services, which will be eventually delivered to the customers. So since y'all are coming with a background of marketing and y'all have done the marketing ethics subject, you know, right? You have learned about value creation, value chain analysis, and everything, under which we talk about the supply chain management, right? Which is the what? Which is the backward of the organization's functions. And then this is the forwardness, right? And in the organization, all these value additions take place. And then finally, the output, the physical product or the service will be delivered to the consumers, which is the forward part. that will be done using intermediaries, right? හරි නේද? ඒක තේරුණානේ නේද? So that is the same thing happens with the business process as well, which is where the inputs will be undergoing different processes and transforming into the final output, which will be given to the customers. And what are information systems? So in any system, what happens is the input is following a process, and then it is turned into an output. And then in the middle, there is this controlling aspect, because whatever we do, we normally have a particular goal in mind, right? Even for business organizations, there are objectives and goals that are initially established. And we do everything, we undertake all these strategies and actions and everything in order to achieve those final objectives and goals that we have set, right? But what if, do you all think it will be effective for us to just sit still and just wait until the goals are met? It is not, right? Because we have to always have a look back whether the actions or the strategies that we are using are effectively supporting us in order to achieve those goals and objectives that we have established earlier. By doing that, with that controlling aspect, we will be able to identify different mistakes, different faults of our actions, or maybe different, like I said, omissions and all, right? So we will be able to prevent these mistakes from happening again. That is why we should have this look back or the controlling aspect. And it is applied in the information systems as well, where the decision makers will do the controlling aspect from the feedback that they get from the output. And they also have a link to the input, because once they have detected their mistakes and all these things, they will communicate it into the input segment. When the next process starts, they will be able to mitigate the same mistake from happening again, right? So under the input stage now, what are the different inputs to an information system? Data and information and different instructions and opportunities can be regarded as inputs, right? And then what happens in the processing stage is it's where we do the analyzing, the processing and structuring and all these things with the support of different people and even different programs. Like I said, now for the analyzing purpose, we can use different softwares, right? It could be programs. And then equipments are also necessary for us to do this whole value adding processes. And storage is also important. And once the processing is done, it goes into the output stage, where the output would be the solution for a particular problem that we have been able to identify in the input stage. And then the output would be, like I said, the reports that we are generating, the graphs, the graphics, and all these things, and maybe calculations, different voices, and also the strategies and tactics could be the output, right? So that is basically an information system. So we know now there are different levels as to the management of an organization, right? There is the strategic level, management level, and the operational level. So under each of these segments, each of these layers, there are different types of information and business processing systems that organizations normally use, right? So, so clear now? Now business processes, they are the different activities and procedures that normally organizations engage in order to deliver a product to the end consumer, right? And they always have their goal in mind in order to do something positive to the organization, right? What are the characteristics of business processes? There is obviously a sequence of steps that they're following, right? From the input stage to the processing to the that goes to the output. And then it keeps on repeating as well, right? Because businesses are long run, right? If it's a public company or depending on the type of the organization. So even if it's a sole proprietor or a partnership, but still for a considerable time, the business operations will be happening, right? So in that case, these business processes will be repeatedly happening on a regular basis in order to generate consistent outcomes, right? And another thing, if you all might have noticed, is that business processes are always goal oriented. There is an end goal that these business processes are intending to achieve, right? That means they are into achieving different goals and objectives. It could be customer service or number of sales, improving the number of sales, or the production, right? So depending on the market operation, the operation, business function, right? So I talked about the customer service, production, and all these things because we are focusing on information technology for marketers, right? But if you're into HRM, then it could be to calculate or to understand about their turnover, their selections and recruitments and all these things. Companies do use information systems for different activities as such, right? Under different organizational functions, right? So in here, we are basically highlighting on the marketing function. So a business process under the marketing function would be oriented towards understanding the customer services, the production, the sales, and lost customers, and all these things, right? So for an example, you all might have heard of these ordering, purchase orders, and order fulfillment processes, right? So that comes under marketing, where you normally receive a particular order and that goes to the payment. And once the payment is validated, then you can go and pick the products and pack it. And if you're into exporting or international marketing, then you can ship the product and then dispatch the delivery. So you can see there is this whole set of actions that flows in order to achieve a particular objective, which is to make sure that the right product is delivered to the right place at the right time, right? So which is about what? Relevant to modern trade, right? So that is about the order fulfillment process under as an example for one of the business processes. What about customer support services and processes? What will happen if a consumer inquires something from the organization? So even if you log into a certain website, normally we can see customer support is there, right? Where you can either email or give a call, or just you can fill an inquiry form in the website, right? So with that, once the consumer fill that, you as the organization, you will receive the query. And for that, you have to assign someone and acknowledge that receipt and then resolve that issue and then give maybe a follow-up to the consumer and then finally fill out that inquiry and complete it. So that is the process, right? Okay, Nether. So that is relevant to marketing actually. because customer support services is actually a key characteristic of a market offering nowadays because of the competitive nature of the business environment. So if you all can remember, I told that for different organizational functions, we can have different business processes, like for HRM. What about their recruitment process? It's also a business process where you start off with advertising a particular job vacancy, or if you're creating a job newly, then you can post a new job opening, and then you can get the resumes or the CVs, and then you can screen those CVs, and then you can select several suitable CVs and then conduct the interviews, physical face-to-face interviews, in order to get to know the candidates, right? And then you can select one of those candidates who is best suiting your vacancy, and then give him or her an offer and take him hired, right? So selection and hiring. And once the hiring is done, you have to give him an induction also, no, for the organization. So that is relevant to human resource management, something extra that I just mentioned. That is an example for a business process under human resource management, which would be a recruitment related business process, right? So likewise, there are different business processes that are there in organizations. And so with what I just mentioned, can you all tell me what are the importances of these business processes? Why should organizations have these consistent business processes? What are the benefits of having information business processes?
To maintain the uniformity of the organization.
Uniformity.
Yes.
Okay. What else? What about the efficiency and effectiveness and um, so maintaining uniformity comes under consistency, no? That means you will be able to provide your products and services to your
Yeah.
consumers
In a
in a
uniform manner.
uniform manner, at the right place, at the right time, with the right quality and everything. And in terms of efficiency, what happens is efficiency is all about what? Reducing the number of inputs and getting a maximum improved number of outputs, right? So in that case, you will be able to improve your productivity. Uh, yeah, someone is saying improved decision making. So how is that happen in decision making? So efficiency, consistency, all these things support the information, support the decision making of the organization. So in the business process, now you saw now here we have different inputs that undergoes the different processes, and then the final output comes out, right? So based on this output, you might be able to make some decisions as well. But as a whole, so if you're writing this answer for an example, you could mention it as one of the latest ones, actually. You could first talk about the conformity part, the uniformity part, and the improvement of efficiency, and even to have a standardized workflow as well, right? Without any customizations from time to time, you will be able to maintain a standardized practice throughout this business process. And as a part of that, the workers, they know their own responsibilities and their roles at each different segment of the process. Right. I said now normally we put in employees, right? So these employees could be responsible for the management of input level aspects, and maybe obviously in the processing and even at the output stage as well. So the employees are representing all these three stages, right? So clearly understand the difference between data and information and how it helps the decision making. And this is something different, which is the business processes that we are talking about. Yeah. And then information systems are actually supporting these business processes that we have in our organizations. That is actually the link between these two, right? Business processes and information systems. So what happens is these business processes, like I mentioned, the recruitment process or the customer support process, or even about the order fulfillment process, what happens is those are business processes, right? And there are different information systems that we can use to support these business processes, right? So there are different types of information systems actually. And these information systems have different benefits that they give to the business processes, like they support with the management of data. And so one example is now Pizza Hut is having a very good data management system, right? Database management is there, where they're using it to collect all the data about the consumers, and it actually supports the maintenance of long-term customer relationships within the organization, right? So we know that one of the business processes is to have customer support and to maintain relationships with them. So to support that business process, one of the information systems, which is data management or database management, is used to support this customer relationship process, right? So that is the link between information systems and business processes. So I said now there are different types of information systems. No? So here under data management, database management, and there are different customer relationship management systems as an information system that supports this whole customer support process, right? So apart from that, you also have like automation and personalization applications as well. So like now different organizations have different activities that keeps on happening on a repeated basis, right? So that with that, what will happen is like if a human is doing it, then obviously because we are humans, we might make errors and mistakes, and even sometimes with time or due to different reasons of the organization, the motivation to work will reduce. As a result, what will happen? The efficiency will reduce, right? But with the application of automation systems like maybe enterprise resource planning systems and all, what will happen? You will be able to reduce the number of errors, and also since it's an software, the efficiency will be always at a stable level, right? It might not decrease as with the use of humans to do those activities. That is there. So those are the different types of information systems that we normally use to support our business processes. So now you can see now, like I said, now if it's a pyramid, there are executive level workers, and then the middle managers, senior, and then the executives are there, right? So for each of these layers, there are different types of systems that we can use, having a different purpose, and the users are also different, right? Because for each layer, the user would be different. And we have given you all examples also. So the transaction processing system, you all might have heard it, right? You all might have done IT now at some part of your life. So for daily activities, we normally use this transaction processing system, right? So it will be used mostly by operational employees of the organization. And so the basic tasks of these systems are to capture data and maybe to process those data and also to store them properly in order to support day-to-day business transactions. So always it's like the repetition is high and every day it is happening, and the employees who are responsible for this particular tasks, they know very well, and there are no uncertainty in terms of in this level because it happens every day and it is repetitive and it is quite familiar for these employees as well. And the purpose is to actually make sure to what? Make sure that that these daily operations are flowing in a smooth and also in an efficient manner. Not to forget, it has to be accurate as well, right? So, what are the types of data that might be normally processed in these systems? Now, I said the main purpose is actually to capture and process and store daily business activities or transactions. So, daily transactions in the sense what? Maybe the sales or the payments from the customers or from the debtors and all, and then ordering, purchasing, and all these things are the daily day-to-day transactions, right? So the transaction processing systems will always facilitate these transactions in an organization. So that is why I have given you all the point of sale system as an example, right? And another example is the ATM transaction systems in banks and all. You can see it, right? And who are the users of these systems? Since it is day to day and operational level employees are engaging with these transactions, who will be the users? The frontline staff members could be the cashiers if it's a bank, and maybe clerks of an organization, right? So likewise, there are these different types of information systems. So you can read through these slides, right? This is a definition for it, and these are the different examples for transaction processing systems. And then you have this is another one which is MIS, Management Information System, which comes under the next stage of the pyramid, which is used by the middle level managers, right? And it is also generating reports for routine sort of decisions, actually. Right? So, so the users will be obviously the mid-level managers and some operational or functional managers. And so another thing is that this management information system is collecting the data and information from the transaction processing system, right? Which was the one that we discussed earlier. And they are processing the data that you extract from the TPS and then generating summarized reports for the managers to make decisions. So the purpose is actually to support decision making in a very structured manner with the provision of, let's say, very periodic sort of reports. So maybe weekly or monthly, or sometimes depending on the sale, could be daily reports as well. So I think I have heard now in Keels and all these retail stores in Sri Lanka, the middle level managers' responsibility is to give summarized reports on their daily sales and all these activities, right? So depending on the scale of the organization, it could be daily, weekly, or monthly, right? So it's like if it's not like a very fast sales generating sort of a organization, maybe you could do weekly or monthly report generation, right? And an example is actually maybe like I said to show the number of sales. And based on these data, you can end up with giving information relevant to the monthly revenue, what we can predict in terms of the monthly revenue, right? So that is about it. And then we also have the decision support system, which actually supports the decision making of the organization, right? So specifically, it's focused on supporting the decision making of the organization. So that means normally the senior managers will be using these uh, systems. So here the senior managers are using decision support systems. And then the executive support system is also there, which is supporting the executives of the organization, obviously. And so that means like directors, senior executives, and maybe the CEO, right? So the executive information systems are actually using the data and information collected from the decision support system and the management information systems, right? So shall we move on to the activity now? So then again, same thing. What you have to do is so apart from these systems, we also have the CIS, which is actually collaboration information systems. So that means you have different teams in an organization, right? Different departments are there. So regardless of working as individual departments, what you can do is you can link with everyone and have a collaborative sort of a interaction with this use of collaboration information system, right? So the benefits are actually it increases the productivity and it is supporting remote work and it encourages you to engage in innovative action activities and it supports you in uh, creating new knowledge as well. So let's move on to the activity. So it's very similar. You can log into your LMS and now go to the second discussion forum, okay? And think of examples that you have encountered in your real life through these different medias, like I explained, the point of sale systems or the sales dashboards or project management tools if you all are working. And just briefly explain how these systems are supporting the business processes and what are their benefits and limitations. And this is now to get us a reflection of how this task has supported you in understanding this whole lesson, right? So quickly do that. I will share the LMS. So here you can see now it's very similar to the earlier activity. Go to the second discussion forum and click on this question 2 and reply. I will give you, since there are 2 questions, I will give you 15 minutes. Think and copy paste your answer here.
Excuse me, miss. Hello. Hello.
So I can see only one has shared the answer so far. Others, I hope you all are typing. Do you all need more time? So the question is clear, right? So we've been discussing about different information systems. So think of a real life example, or you can base your answer on POS systems or sales dashboards or project management. So these are some examples that I have given you all, right? If you all have come across with different other information systems, you can write about those systems as well, right? And what you have to do is explain how these systems are supporting the business processes. So you all know what a business process is all about, and there are different types of business processes. And I want you all to link these different information systems as to how they are supporting the different business processes, and what are the benefits and what are the disadvantages or the limitations of these systems. And once it is done, you just have to mention what you were able to learn by engaging in this activity, right? Sort of a reflection on this activity. So what is happening now? I don't see anyone else have replied to this answer. So let's go through this answer for the time being. Mm, EOS. Minimum risk, reduced human errors. The limitations is the initial cost in the sense for the implementation of the system. Cyber attacks, technical failures. So, Gangadavila, thank you for your answer, but will you be able to also add a reflection on this activity as to what are the takeaways that you were able to get from this particular activity and how it will be helpful according to your understanding? Just edit your answer. And the others, for my example, I will take POS used in Kiels. Process payments, updates the stocks, helps neuromarketing efforts. Mm. How can that be done? What do you mean by helping neuromarketing efforts? Can you please explain?
Yeah, that means I don't know, madam, it's like whether it's directly connecting with it, but what I meant was customers' purchasing behavior can be tracked
Mm.
through POS system, but not
Mm.
exactly the biometrics are connected with
Mm.
it.
Mm.
But by looking at the customer's your POS system, it has all the purchasing information. No, so
Of the
like what
consumers.
I yeah, like what are their preferences? Now, for example, when I go to Kiehl's, I'm always going for the fresh stuff, like for
Mm.
example, like fresh vegetables and fresh fruits. And
Mm.
I'm a quite let's say a bargain hunter. I'm looking
Mm.
for deals always when I go to Kiehl's.
Mm.
So my behavior is, I believe that my behavior is tracking the POS system.
Right.
Yeah, in that way, I think
Mm.
it helps the neuromarketing effort in that sense.
How it influences your thinking.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
thinking behavior. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. So that is okay then. Mhm. Benefits and the barriers are there. Okay. So you also can you add like a key takeaway out of this activity until
I
I
sure.
read the others
Yeah,
answer.
yeah,
So
sure.
thank you very much for your answer as well. And I was thinking of a point when you said keels, but I just lost it. I will share if I get it again. Keels.
Uh,
So with the
whether
keels, so since you meant with it's an addition to what you said. Now they have their
okay,
loyalty program, right? The Nexus cards.
Nexus.
I
Yeah.
recently I heard from one of their marketing heads that they are using that particular program to track their consumer behavior because whenever you give the number and get registered as an access card holder, all those details that you just mentioned, whether they are hunting for deals or going for discounted products, and what are the frequency of purchasing and the number of items, and all these things are tracked through the Nexus program. I'm not sure whether they're doing
I
it
think
for
that is
all
very
the
true.
consumers.
Yeah, I feel the same.
Mm,
I think
mm,
that is very true. And actually, I think this is the only organization in Sri Lanka which uses customer data very efficiently,
mm,
as far as I understand, because every behavior I feel like they track.
mm. So that means
So yeah.
you are an access card holder as
Of
well.
course, I
Ah,
from the
that's that.
inception I was an Access card
Yeah,
holder, and
yeah.
I usually, I prefer to go there, especially
Mm,
because of the deals I get. So
mm,
basically, I target for the there because they have particular timings, like
mm.
what time they are giving deals and
Yeah.
what type of deals are there on which date. So I have kept a track of it. And
Mm,
then I target on that particular timing and that particular,
mm.
seasons in
Right.
order to get the advantage. So I
Mm.
feel I'm getting SMSs, like for
Yeah, yeah.
example, I'm getting SMSs like there's a such deal, such deal, such deal. So what you said was also very true.
Yeah.
So because of they are using, I think now see neuromarketing is not that famous in Sri Lanka, but what I
Mm,
understand is that now the marketers are like putting an extra effort to
mm.
make this system success. So I think
Yeah.
Keels does a good job
Mm.
comparatively,
To
and
the
I think
other
they are the
retail.
trendsetter
Yeah.
exactly, and they are the trendsetter. I feel like they are the one who's leading the race, I feel.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So in terms of the market leading, I mean the market share, Cargill's is the market leader, according to what I heard, because of the number of outlets. And now Kiehl's is having like 141 outlets as of now all around the country, but they own like 36 or 31% of the market share. And Apico, Spa, and all these other retail stores are holding limited shares of the market. So that is about that. But they also mentioned about this GPS tracking system that they're using with this Nexus users, and they detect where the consumers are from. Because now, since they have different outlets in different locations, let's say they're going to have a new outlet somewhere else. So with those
Yeah.
tracking systems, they see where their
For the
customers are
STPs,
located.
especially for the
Yes,
STPs, no?
not
Yeah,
only for the
like for the purpose
STP,
STP.
but geographically, because the ones
Hmm.
who are living around the Keels outlet will be the loyal consumers. Right now, I'm in Dehiwala and I go to the nearest Keels outlet. I mean, I do not go to some other Keels outlets, right? So in that case, they are targeting the ones who are living around the location. So sometimes there may be some consumers just come and go on their way to some different location, but basically they target the ones who live near the in the surrounding area of one
Uh,
particular Kiehl's outlet.
Sometimes I feel like this, what you
Mm.
saying, what I'm just adding. I may be
Yeah,
wrong, huh?
yeah.
Just I'm thinking. Now, sometimes when you go to Kiehl's, you can see there are certain products
Mm.
that they're about to expire, right? They
Yeah,
give
yeah.
deals on them, right? They
Mm.
did. So what you just said, the tracking thing, I think that's why they are seeing like people who are around, so the
Yeah.
people can approach the product, those like
Soon.
expiring or whatever the
Mm.
perishable items
Yeah,
soon,
yeah.
and grab a deal. So
Yes.
in that case, they can also make the
Yes,
sale and
yes.
finish
Yeah.
empty the
The
very
shelf.
that's a very
Yes.
valid point, huh? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes. And another thing
Yeah,
is that
yeah.
they're using hotspot some system where they track within the outlet, where do you spend more time on, in which aisle? Is it the dry foods or the fresh baked or the fresh fruits and vegetables, or those you have different aisles and all, no? So they are using this hotspot system in order to track where you spend more time on in the outlet. Right, so that is
That's neuro,
in-store
no?
behavior.
That's yeah, like
Neuro plus,
yeah.
it's like a hotspot. That means to track where the consumer is in the organization. Not exactly neuro, but the system just check because in different other countries they are using it. In Kiels, they are still in like the initial stages of it. So that actually tracks your behavior or your the time you spend and where you spend in the Kiels outlet itself. So that means it detects your preferences and your behavior relevant to in-store purchases while you are shopping.
But Miss, I'm just asking, this is
Yeah.
just for my knowledge, Now, what do you think about the ethical aspect of it, like privacy is breach? So does other
Yeah.
countries have sort of legal background to it, or is it
Yes.
like
I think so, but for Sri Lanka, I think even our legal systems are still in the, developing stage, right? With all these AI and all these modern technological developments. I'm not very sure of that, but it's a good thing to be searched of, actually. Mm. So
yeah,
speaking of privacy now, in that case, we are in breach of privacy with all our social media platforms, right? I mean, compared to this hotspot tracking. So I will actually check on that
yeah.
and
And
maybe
because
I
now
will.
why I raised that question, because now social media, anyway, we know that our privacy is breached, and
Yeah,
we
yeah.
are well aware of it, and we are
Mm.
coming on our
On.
on
Mm.
our own liking towards
Yeah,
it, like
yeah.
on our own thought, we are just coming, okay, our privacy, we take that risk. But
Mm.
see, it's and all those are like multinational or well established companies. So that's
Yes,
what I was thinking, like, what is the legal aspect of it? Because if they track every movement of us, where do we spend time? And no, they have basically they must be having a right to track where that
yes.
in their establishment where we
Mm.
are.
Mm.
But in terms of other stuff, as you said,
Yeah.
that where we live in, the areas where we are around. So I think that of course they cannot
Yeah.
they don't have a right
Hmm.
for
So
it.
even
So
now, the CCTV cameras are also there, right? And
hmm,
so they're using those information as well. And apart from that, this the hotspot thing is related to this heat mapping. That means they have, some red sort of a bulb that appears in terms of our heat, the our body heat that they're going to map where we are spending more time on in the store. So that is there. So I have to check with the ethical aspect actually. So they do not know about it actually, obviously. So that means they have not received the consent of the customers, which is obviously a breach of the trust. So
yeah, because
I
otherwise
need
they should
to.
have a system where when we,
Hmm.
register for Nexus or whatever it is, like
Yeah, at least to
we should have
inform,
there should be a
inform.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, there should be a small sort of clause or whatever it is saying that there's access. I don't know whether there's a clause actually. I'm
Hmm.
just out of curiosity, how these
Yeah, yeah,
things
yeah.
can
I
work.
will also check on it and
Yeah.
maybe, yeah.
Because I think this neuromarketing thing, actually that day there was a discussion on it with
Mm-hmm.
Professor Nalin sir.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, did a discussion on this neuromarketing one. We had a session on that. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what even he said, like it's actually, it's very new to Sri Lanka, and how
Mm-hmm.
it's going to happen, and it's bit, challenging,
Mm.
things how it's going to be implemented in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
I think it's a very new topic even for our study.
Yeah.
It's the first time that this was brought up.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I'm curious to know about it more.
Yes.
Yeah.
I also didn't think of that background of using this thing, but I will definitely check with one who is working there and get back to you. Maybe I will post it in one of the forums. So I will add
Okay,
it
Miss.
to this particular forum, the insights that I am going to get in this second question, right? Okay, thank you for that question actually. And then we have POS systems. So Power BI is like an analyzing tool, no? If I'm not mistaken. Project management tools. Yeah, so very elaborative answer. So you have spoken of all the three systems actually. Thank you for that. And you also can you add the reflective write up on this particular activity. So this billing system, I think we read or already read it, and I have seen POS systems in stores, sales dashboard. Yeah. So Santoshini, good answer. So you also have to edit and add the reflective aspect of this activity. So everyone has discussed about all these three aspects, no? Keels and cargills to process sales. E-commerce platform. Good. And
And me sorry if I'm disturbing. I think
no,
I really should add this to the main conversation. Now, see, we
yeah.
are talking about neuromarketing and all those sort of advanced things. But I
Mm,
think in Sri Lanka, the biggest problem we have is like uh, we don't have places to at least honor or to what I should say like facilitate
mm,
the basic e-commerce,
yeah.
especially when we are making a payment. We know that most of the places still we go on this basis of traditional methods like accepting cash only,
Mm, mm,
and on some places, even if we are going to make a payment through a credit card or debit card, they're charging a fee,
mm,
right? So what
yes.
I feel is there's a huge gap between the digitization and the
Legal
the way
aspect.
the
Yeah, yeah.
transactions are carried. I think without addressing those things at first,
Mm,
these things we cannot like improve further advancement in marketing.
yes.
And I would say even even big places like skills. There are
Mm,
certain some days where even there are, for example, I will take this example.
mm,
There's a digital platform called FreeMe. You must be knowing like
mm,
FreeMe,
mm,
where you can
mm.
through NTB. Yeah. So
All, yeah.
this sometimes even even sometimes the staff they are not aware what is this FreeMe is, and
Mm,
they are just looking everywhere. What is it? How can it be worked? And sometimes the system is also down,
yeah.
so systems can be down, I understand, but there
Mm,
should be a way, the customer, there should be a way that it should be accommodated in a way minimizing the hassle to the customer. So I feel these things are really lacking in the industry. So
yes.
as the people that who are engage in this marketing things, I think we should raise a voice on it. So
Mm.
I,
Yeah,
I
and
I feel like this aspect also should
mm,
be
mm. And yes,
raised as
since
marketers.
you
Yeah,
you mentioned about this data protection, I just realized that I participated one of the sessions recently, last week actually, where it was on
yeah,
data protection act in Sri
right,
Lanka or something. And he
right,
was one of the members who has been an active member of this drafting of this whole Data Protection Act or something. So in that case, what he
right.
also mentioned is that since this is like one of the initial steps that they have taken forward, but then since they are also still developing it and adding rules and acts and everything to this
Yeah,
protection act, they
yeah,
also are still
yeah,
in
yeah,
identifying all these problems that they
yeah,
have. So
yeah.
it
And
is
I
still
feel
in a
still,
developing
yes,
stage. Yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and I think still that people are still in a red tape kind of a situation.
Yes.
They don't want changes. There are certain
Mm.
groups in the society, in our
Mm.
society. And let
Mm.
me add this also, madam.
Mm.
I understand like we in our level four,
Yeah.
I think we have something legal aspect on business. So some
Mm-hmm. It's a course.
legal transaction, something
Mm.
related to transaction. Okay.
Right.
So we
Okay.
have a subject which will, I think, be important about the legal aspect of the business. But
Mm.
what I'm saying is, if we can incorporate more subject content like data
Mm.
protection, I don't
Mm-mm.
know in other levels, level 5 or 6, we have
Yes,
it.
yes,
I'm just
yes.
telling since I don't know. Huh?
No, no. I don't think on data protection there is a aspect on it, but it could be a good suggestion actually, because we are
Sorry, I
learning about all
lost
this.
connection.
Yeah,
Yeah, I lost
I
connection.
don't think
Yeah.
in the existing courses you have an area for data protection, but it has to be taken into consideration
Yeah,
in
even slightly,
mm,
what is data protection and
mm,
how can that be incorporated with the marketing
mm,
aspect, those
yeah,
kind of things. I think it is
yeah.
important. So if you could make that suggestion for the
Even at
management or
least
whoever,
for this
yeah,
course,
yeah,
if you
yeah.
can incorporate it, that
Yeah.
will be an all round, I think.
Yeah, it will be yes, because now see, as the I mean, students are learning this
Mm.
course, we are not only to pass the examination, but to
Yeah.
apply these things in the real world. So, I
Yes.
mean, yeah, yes, madam.
Yes, exactly. And since we're talking about this data protection now, since we were talking mainly about the marketing functions and processes, but if it's about human resource, it's like a huge problem with all this data protection, because nowadays we normally, even in the university for the staff, we have this face detection, face scanning for the employees. They have to give the fingerprint and all. So those are biometric data. So there are different data protection acts for that. So that person was talking mainly about those aspects actually. So he did not even cover all these marketing aspects and all. And one of the suggestions was actually to incorporate all these marketing and new technological applications into this particular act. So I will give that suggestion to the coordinator, and maybe she will incorporate some lesson materials into this particular course in the future, because since now the courses have been developed and all this stuff has been done, I don't think for y'all it'll be possible, because the synopsis has been made and all. So it's better for y'all to dig and search to do your own study. But I will I mean, obviously in this recording it'll be recorded, no? So for future learners, I think we would be able to do something about data protection, because we are talking about all these business processes and information systems, but not about the data protection. So thank you very much.
And thank you, madam, that I got a chance to talk about this. And just
Yeah.
a small one more thing, please,
Yes.
if it's not a disturbance, small thing,
No, no.
because I like to I like to listen to those things from an academic kind of a
Mm.
perspective also. Because
Yeah.
see now we say the service aspect is very important for the marketing, right? Like customer
Yes.
service and things like that. But what I feel is in in recently, what I feel is this kind of element, this kind of component is a little bit lagging from the organizations, even from the your blue chip companies, maybe from even good companies. This kind of aspect is lagging. So I want to know
Mm.
from like kind of a industrial or whatever, whoever the people who are in the top, like
Mm.
how do they actually view this custom service aspect? How is it really important when it comes to as you said, setting a competitive advantage to product,
Yes,
going
of
to
course.
product in marketing.
Mm.
Yes, I know that for the theory, and I mean practically that is also the case. But I
Mm.
feel this
It's
thing is
limited.
lagging
Mm.
from the current marketing perspective. It is kind of lagging. So,
Mm.
as do you feel the same, or is it like
So,
I would like if you could add kind of a forum or discussion to this, and from even the top people, how do
mm.
they see the current situation with regard to the service aspect? So,
Mm.
I mean, if you could just
So as a
update,
consumer,
yeah.
as a consumer, I think Sri Lankan companies are in the process of improving their customer services, right? Because if you
Because
take,
it was there. No,
yeah.
the saddest part is it was
Mm.
there a decade
Mm.
ago. I should say that
Mm.
it was there,
Mhm.
but recently, when it comes to recently, it's little by little, I can see
Mm.
it's diluting. The service
Mm.
aspect is diluting. For
Mm.
example, even let's say you are calling a telecommunication company. There
Yeah.
are about some, good telecommunication companies, even
Mm.
famous companies. Even those days, they provided a very good service, but I don't like to
Yeah.
say the name, but you see
Yeah.
you see recently you talk and see how the service is provided, how the
Mm.
customer service is behaving. Can you reach them?
Mm.
Like that, there are a lot of problems to this service
Mm.
aspect. So I just wanted to
Yeah.
add
Yeah.
that as well,
Yeah, so
since
that
it's
is
relevant.
so relevant to, like, I don't know if you were talking about SLT, but I was a part of, I mean, as an undergraduate, I was a part of one of their research. So they had this whole research that was conducted in order to understand about the ways through which they can improve their customer, what do you call, the service delivery and the customer services and all. So in that case, we as the researchers, we went as customers and went into the company and sort of did like a ghost shopping thing where we acted as the consumers and sort of,
Mystery shopper,
yes,
no? We
yes,
call it
exactly. Sorry, mystery
mystery shopper.
shoppers. But then and then based on our experience, we filled the questionnaires, and once I joined the staff, I also got into the analyzing process, and we actually gave a report on how they can improve and all these different mistakes that they're doing and all these things. And they, like, yeah, so that is there, but I don't know if it's like a generational problem or the attitudes of the employees or what's the case. But I think now, as academics, in the academic point of view, we definitely highlight the importance of customer services, even for physical products and all. But now, if we take telecommunication itself, it's completely a service, right? So in that case, it has to be 100% best, in like provided and delivered in a best way. But customer services normally, you link it with physical products. Like if we say, like if it's a refrigerator or an AC machine, that is a physical product, and the installation part, the repairs if it's needed, and all those things
Yeah,
are
and
the
one more
customer
thing
service.
means you just see whether it's because of it's a cost center, because customer service
Mm.
is a cost center, So I
Mm.
don't know, is that the reason why they are not giving much importance?
Maybe, no,
Just see
yeah.
whether
Mm. Yeah, good points to think of. The only thing is, now to find those reasons, you have to do, I think, at least the research or a data collection in order to find the reasons as to why it is diluting. So obviously that means from the consumer's point of view.
especially
Mm.
madam, see the banks. I'm telling,
Mm.
banks are actually these days. Maybe my personal view, I don't know whether you felt the same.
Mm.
Banks are not providing a good service as it was. I mean, it used to be. So that
Mhm.
is a big concern. As you said, banks and telecommunication companies, those are based on
Mhm.
service.
Yeah.
So this is what I feel. I mean, it's my personal thing, but I asked from several people. I mean,
Mm.
I asked from my peers, and I asked from some people who's transacting with them. They felt the same thing. So that's what I
Yes.
wanted to share.
Yeah, yeah. So the thing is now to solve those questions. Now, since you also have asked, so that means there is a data collection that. So I think it has to be done from the companies itself, because they are the ones who are into providing the services. And since obviously there is a finding, there is an insight from the customer's point of view, like you all mentioned, there is a dilution of this service delivery, the services. So the reasons as to why should come up from the companies itself, because the employees, the frontline or the back office employees are the ones who are delivering the service. So the reasons should come from their end. So it's better for the top management of those companies to undertake a research from their own employees as to check whether it's something relevant to the working environment or they are dissatisfied or what's the problem, because only if the employees are satisfied and happy they will be treating their consumers happily and in a good way, right? So
Very true, very true.
that's the thing. I think the top heads should find those reasons, because we as consumers being outsiders, I don't think we will be able to know exactly why that they're behaving, because like I said now, they have undertaken research, spend lots of money on research as to understand how they can improve their service delivery and all, but what goes wrong with the implementation and why the employees are not adopting those strategies is actually another problem for the company. So the data collection must be done from the company itself, being the employees, being the participants of the study. So in that case, I think you should not be collecting numerical sort of data again. You should go for a qualitative data collection as to understand their in-depth, reasons as to why they're not behaving in a cheerful manner or they're not going in line with the given protocols by the company based on the research that they have done. So yeah. So I
Okay,
think
Miss,
with that,
thank you. Yeah, thank
yeah.
you, madam,
So
for
thank
this.
you very much actually for your active engagement from the start to the end. Because that is what we should actually do. Because this is also a service, and in services, you all know there is a co-production that takes place, right? You share your thoughts, and I share my knowledge, and there is a co-production that happens. We both are active participants of this production of this whole study. So thank you very much for your engagement, and I will probably check and
It's my pleasure.
upload. Yeah, I will add it to one of the discussion forums by clarifying that ethical thing uh, relevant to keels. And yeah, so with that we can end this session. And the ones who didn't post your answers, you can post your answers later on. So thank you, and we can stop now.
Thank you very much, Miss. Do we have another session, or is it finished for the day?
Yes, I think you have, right?
Uh,
From 1 to 4, there
no,
is
yeah.
another session.
Another
It will
session,
be
which will not be
done
done
by
by different.
another
All right.
different
All
lecturer.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Miss. Thank you very much. We learned a
Okay.
lot. Thank you very much for
Thank
the lesson,
you.
Miss.
Thank you.